from wherever place you are in. I just want to say thank you so much for being part of this conversation. I just had to make sure that I work on the very technical issues. So we are past 6 minutes, and we know this is on a Saturday, and this is the day we do have the 30 minutes connect. So I just want to welcome you and to say thank you once again for you being part of this conversation. I don't take it for granted. One of the things I've come to realize is that time is money. When people say it, it sounds to be very simple. But the reality is, time is truly money. And money in itself can only be made when people are willing to be intentional and create time for those very things. So, today I just want to focus on one topic that has become so controversial, especially in our generation. And I think it is important for us to now build and structure something around it so that now we can have something that is futuristic. So, what am I trying to say? When it comes to relationships, the issue of money has become one of the toughest things that can be, because people are not willing to structure something around it, because people are beginning to be selfish and all that. That is why you get to find people in relationships, they're trying to quarrel and fight over finances. You get to hear probably the husband feels like the wife is hiding money and all that. Thank you so much for those that are joining, and hi to everyone. Hi to you. Good evening to you, African Roots. Asante sana for joining. So, one of the things that I'm really trying to bring about is to ensure that people can begin to understand what it takes to be in a relationship, because relationships require understanding. They require a people that are willing to take the you know take the position of doing it right. Just like what I was saying, it comes to a point in marriage whereby the man feels like is being overburdened and all that. Nowadays, especially nowadays, because of how marriage has become, people want it 50-50 and all that. And also, the woman of today feels like she's overburdened because of what we call empowerment. She feels like now all the financial burdens are left to her. But I think it is important to be in a relationship whereby, if it's the woman, she can come down and be able to bring the man on board so that they can discuss about the future of the relationship. Because the number one question is, why did you get married? Why did you want to be in that relationship? And also for the man, when you feel like there's something that is not working out and you feel like there's a burden, it takes two to tangle and two to fumble. So it is important for the both of you to function in the area of understanding. So today's topic, it's all about the worst mistake a man can ever make. The worst mistake a man can ever make. And that worst mistake, I want to let you know, it is marriage. It is marriage in itself. Marriage can become, in fact, and let me put it even better. Marriage can become the single worst financial decision a man can ever make. Marriage can become one of the worst decisions based on finances that a man can ever make. So, what am I trying to say when I'm talking about this? It is because when you marry the wrong partner, when you marry the wrong person, when you marry the wrong woman as a man, you have to understand that things are going to turn around on you, and you'll begin to think that life is fighting you, or life is making you lose your ability and your way to come. So it is important for you to be very considerate about how you want your life to be. Or it also goes to the women. The women also need to learn how to be very intentional. The kind of a man you bring on board in your life, is he worthy to be part of your journey, or just to have a time with them? So when it comes to the point of making sure that a relationship grows, you have to understand that the right partner will make you grow, but the wrong one will never allow you to become. And most of the time, we get to hear many people in relationships, especially especially with the women, we get to hear most of them, they say You know what? I want a man who can love me very much, a man who can love me much. That is what many women do. I just want a man who can love me very much. At the end of the day, you get to ask yourself questions. Why do you want a man who can love you very much? I know even the Bible tells us that, yes, a man, the husband, should love the wife. But I think it is important to understand that love comes from both ends because it is a natural effect based on a decision that has been made between the both of you. So I just want to get into this very topic for the next 30 minutes because this is the 30 minutes of Connect. I only have 25 minutes right now. So when marriage becomes a financial trap, when marriage becomes a financial trap, uh, the worst thing that can happen for a man, especially, is when he finds the wrong woman in his life. What am I trying to say? It is important for you to be in a place of choosing that partner that you want to spend your life with. Uh, in a very, very intentional way, because the Bible also tells us that he who finds a wife, it does not talk about he who finds a husband, but that does not negate the fact that it is important also for for the woman to also be discerning to choose the kind of a man he really wants. So it is important and it is very crucial for you to be very intentional, I insist, because choosing a partner who can build you, who can nurture you, who can work on you and make you become a better version of yourself is very important. So marriage can become the single worst financial decision a man can ever make. Not because marriage itself is a curse, not because marriage is a curse, but because of the wrong choice in a partner. Just like what I've said, I know African Roots is asking, where can I find the real man? You need to be intentional, African Roots. Be the real woman. Display yourself so that the real man can get to see how real you are. So it begins with you. It begins with you. Display how real you can be as a woman, and the right man will see the character, the good character in you, the disciplines in you, and that man will find you. So remember, the cost isn't just emotional, it can be financially devastating. It can be financially devastating. So a bad marriage doesn't just affect your heart. It hits your wallet, assets, credit score, peace of mind, and even years of life. And it's rarely one big financial blow. It's the slow bleed. It's the slow bleed. Have you ever heard of this man? When I began my life, things were okay, but when this woman came into my life, things were not working out. Things were just, not even functioning the way I really wanted, because the kind of a partner you choose to be part with determines the outcome of that relationship, whether financially, emotionally, spiritually, and also mentally. It is very important to be intentional to check out the kind of a woman you really want to have, even the kind of a man you want, because it is not about just choosing a good woman. Even for the ladies, you have to be intentional to choose a good man who will enable you to grow. And like I always say, in fact, I have to correct myself there. It is not just about only a good woman, it is also about the right person. I only have 21 minutes. This takes me to my first point. This is the 30 minutes of Connect for those that are joining. So, number one, endless arguments about money. If you're with the wrong partner, every other day you will be having endless arguments about money. Why? Because they are partners that do not know how to put things together. They do not know how to grow the finances and make the finances, basically, they do not have the respect, for what money is in the relationship. And that is why you'll find most of the time one partner is a spendthrift and the other is a saving person. So you have to be in the place of, having a conversation concerning finances, so that now you can build and structure something between the both of you. Because at the end of the day, whatever you desire, it is not only about you, it is about the both of you. Now you're having a family. Imagine you came together as husband and wife, and then after that, you have children. So it is important to have a partner who is willing to build with you, create with you, nurture with you, and do what is supposed to be done at the end of the day. And I always say, don't just marry a good woman. Don't marry a good man. Marry the right one. Don't marry a quiet woman. As no, don't marry a silent woman. You'd rather marry a quiet woman, because sometimes a silent woman will try to manipulate you with their silences. So at the end of the day, you will lose your ability to become in that relationship. Also for the men, for the women, don't just marry a silent man. It is better you marry a quiet one. And that is why it is said, this person is quiet. But when it comes to being silent, that is one person that has blinded herself or himself from listening to you. So, endless arguments about money. When you get to hear about that, this is what it means. Endless arguments about money drain not only peace, but also productivity, the productivity of the relationship. You can never see yourselves grow, because there's no progress with what the both of you desire. So when finances become a constant battlefield, a man loses the focus needed to build wealth and vision. That is what happens. And many people are losing out on building wealth, because every other day they are fighting about money, they are fighting about finances, because one wants more for themselves and the other wants to do something that is substantial for the relationship. So you have to understand that coming into the place of making a relationship grow and making a relationship become requires your efforts, the both of you to be determined to make sure that the relationship works on building what is futuristic. So a man loses the focus needed to build wealth and vision instead of financial unity. And that is one thing I keep on telling people. You need to focus on building that relationship much more. So when you talk about finances, because this is where many people draw the line, especially our ladies, you draw the line there, because if a man cannot provide for you financially, you begin thinking that he's a loser. You begin thinking that he cannot even satisfy you, because you're like, he cannot give me money, he can not do this. But remember, if you can only empower your man, also you can only do what is right by your man, I believe something tangible is going to come about. So what happens again? Mistrust and resentment take root, eroding stability day by day. Remember, the Bible warns, can two walk together except they agree? So both of you need to agree. What do you want for yourselves when it comes to finances? What do you desire for yourselves when it comes to money? In the book of Amos chapter 3 verse 3, in the Amplified Bible, that is what it has told us. How can two work together unless they agree? So without financial agreement, the marriage turns into a tug of war. People begin to fight. You did not do this, you cannot do that, sabotaging long-term growth. That is what happens. Money is not just currency, it is trust, stewardship, and vision. It is not just trust. You know what? It is not just a currency. It is trust, stewardship, and vision. When it becomes a weapon, both marriage and destiny suffers. Look at that. Those are the things that many people don't consider. And it is very important and very crucial for each one of us to stick or stand to what is profound, to ensure that things are working out in the relationship. So, point number 2, lifestyle inflation to keep up with expectations. Lifestyle inflation to keep up with expectation. So what do I mean? Lifestyle inflation happens when one partner insists on living beyond their means. Have you ever found or met with this kind of people? Because they want to show off to their neighbors, they want to show off to the people that surround them. Don't live beyond your means. Live to what you can afford. Do the things that you can afford. Stop fighting to have a life that has no meaning. Just do your best to focus on what is true and definite, and build something that is futuristic, like I always say. So most of the time, they want to live beyond their means. Bigger houses, flashier cars, endless shopping to project an image of success. But the truth is, these people are suffering and they're struggling in that relationship. So this pressure destroys savings and forces debt dependency. And that is why you see people, I get to see so many people struggling. And I wonder why you're struggling in this relationship or in this marriage. Why? Because people really want to show off what they don't have by trying to prove a point to people. Don't live, according to how people will show you. Live based on what is affordable to you at that particular moment. The scripture tells us, better is a little with a reverent worshipful fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble in with it. Proverbs 15 verse 16 in the Amplified, that is what it is telling us. Remember, true wealth is commitment, or commitment and contentment. True wealth is commitment and contentment, not comparison. Stop comparing what you don't have. Stop looking at yourself and beginning desiring another kind of lifestyle. So, a wrong spouse may value appearances over stability, enslaving both to a cycle of lack. Keeping up with other expectations, that is what we get to see, slowly keeps, expectations slowly keeps a couple behind in reality. When you live, when you basically have a life that does not have value, that does not focus on what is, projecting the reality of how the moment is, you will begin to lose your way of being because you really want to prove a point to people. But it is important for you to understand, keeping up with others' expectations slowly keeps people behind in reality. So I want us to go to point number three. Point number three, so that we can have time together in a good way. Point number three: emotional spending used to cope with conflict. Emotional spending used to cope with conflict. What do I mean? When emotional pain fuels financial decisions, money becomes a substitute for peace. I repeat, when emotional pain fuels financial decisions, money becomes a substitute for peace. Have you ever seen these couples? They are fighting and then they are making this kind of mistake financially because they want to show off how they can do things because they are emotionally disturbed. So they feel emotionally now they can make some financial decisions that are not even right. So you get to find that these people are only destroying their ability to become. They are destroying their way of being. So they can never experience the beauty of marriage because they're trying to prove something else that does not exist in the relationship. So remember, a wife or husband may shop, gamble, or indulge on numb and resolve conflict, leaving behind broken accounts and deeper wounds. So be very careful to make decisions not based on emotions, but based on logic. I know your partner might have hurt you or broken your heart in a way that is not even recommended, but you have to have self-control to ensure that you can build something within yourself. You be grounded in a way that no matter what pain, no matter what struggle, I can be able to control myself and handle situations maturely. So this spending isn't about need, it's about escape. When you spend aimlessly, when you spend without understanding, you get to find people who love shopping so much, so they want to go out and shop and do things for themselves. And we get to see this with so many women. What do they do? What do they do? They want to go and shop and they never talk about it. And I wonder every other time, you are married to this person. Even the little things that seem not to matter, they matter in your marriage. Talk about those things. Talk about those things. Speak about it. Bring your husband, even if it's a toothpick you want to buy. It brings the both of you together. It enables the both of you to be structured and to be grounded on what is true and definite. What am I saying? Remember previously or earlier, I just said that you see, money is not just a currency, it is trust. It is commitment. It is just that love that the both of you have. It is not about the money you spend and all that. So the Bible tells us, like a city that is broken and without walls leaving it unprotected, is a man who has no self-control over his spirit. That is found in the book of Proverbs 25, verse 28. So a man who lacks self-control is like a city that has broken walls. So, my dear brothers and sisters, you have to understand, if you lack self-control, you are not grounded, you are not stable. And that is why many people are losing out in relationships. Just today I met with this couple, and they're struggling in their relationship. They don't know what to do, they don't know what to expect. And I looked at them, and one of the problems I found with them is that these people are only struggling with expressing their intimacy and all that, because this one denies this one a chance. This one cannot even approach the other one because they feel like they're the special ones in the relationship. There's no one that is special in the relationship. And you have to remember that both of you are special, and you have to be determined to play your position and to do it not according to what the man does, according to what God desires for the both of you, not according to how your wife wants, but according to what God does. Remember, so many things are dying in your relationship because you're not willing to fight for it. The Bible tells us that a man leads the home, and the same Bible tells us that a woman who cannot build his own house, that is not a woman to consider. So it is important to be with a partner that is right, a partner that will fight, not just by words, by their actions. They will prove it. They will say, no, I have to do this to make sure that things are working out. Remember, emotional spending is a lack of self-control. I know you've met this kind of people. So emotional spending is lack of self-control in disguise, and a financially undisciplined marriage invites destruction faster than external excuses or external enemies, basically. So what am I trying to say? Look at yourself. What are the decisions that you want to make? What are the things that you want to achieve in this life? The reason why you're struggling in your relationship, it is because most of the time you think you're always right. And that is why you want to play safe. Remember, playing safe does not make the relationship right. It only proves and gives us an identity of who you are. So you have to be intentional. And I'm talking about, especially in the area of finances, you have to be very intentional and competent enough to do what is right. So you have to pick yourself and see yourself within yourself to establish something that is futuristic. So let us go to point number 4, because it's only 22 minutes. Point number 4. I can see African roots is saying, wakati mwingine as a human being, you have the feeling of intimacy. You have the feeling of intimacy. I wish I could read that again. Remember, it is important for the both of you to function on the basis of intimacy, because intimacy is beyond that sexual desire. Intimacy is beyond that need to engage together sexually. No, it is beyond that. It's all about structuring something that is beautiful for the both of you, and accordance to what will structure your relationship and make it a better one indeed. So point number 4, hidden debts that suddenly become your burden. Remember, we are having couples who are fighting because of debts. You got into this relationship and you really wanted it to work out, but your partner never explained themselves how their financial life is. And this person comes into your life and they're struggling with a certain debt they don't want to tell you. Yeah, they come into the relationship, kumbe someone had some debt somewhere, some loan somewhere, and this person is not willing to speak about those things. So it is important to be with a person that is intentional, so that now this person can be able to speak and say, you know what, this is how the situation is, and I think this is what I can do. So how can I overcome it? It is important for you to be intentional. Number one question you need to ask yourself, apart from that, what do I need to do? So look at the few mistakes that you've made in the past and function on that and build something around that very thing. Never repeat the same mistake. So hidden debts that suddenly become your burden. One of the most devastating realities is hidden debt. That one, hidden debt. People are hiding debts. People are not speaking about it. So a spouse who conceals loans, credit sorry about that, a spouse who conceals loans, credit cards, bills, or financial irresponsibility forces the other partner to carry a weight they never agreed to. And I've talked about that. Many people are in relationships and they don't want to speak about these things. They don't want to deliver this kind of message to their partners because they want to appear good. They want to appear sanctimonious, holier than thou, righteous. They don't have loans, but they're struggling with those things. So they want to just express a kind of life that does not exist in them. So transparency is the foundation, or is the foundation of covenant. Remember that. Transparency is the foundation of covenant. And without it, trust collapses. Do you know why many relationships are dying? It is because people are not transparent. People are not even sharing their emotional sides very well. People are not willing to put up a fight to build that relationship. Nowadays, people are like, whatever, I got into marriage, that is what I wanted, to people to know that I got married. But marriage was never my thing. I just wanted people or society to know that I'm in marriage. But marriage, it is not part of me. Remember, the word says, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. So what do I mean? Proverbs chapter 2, verse 27, chapter 22, verse 7, that is what it says. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. So if you keep on borrowing, the one that you borrow from will become your ruler. That person can control you and do whatever they want. So marriage to someone dishonest about money binds a man not only to the spouse, but also to creditors, stripping away freedom, dignity, and options for the future. So, my brother and my sister, marry someone who is intentional, someone who is transparent, someone who is willing to share the truth with you. I only have 4 minutes remaining. This is the 30 minutes connect. So, point number 5, which is the final one indeed: reckless financial decisions disguised as partnership. Reckless financial decisions disguised as partnership. So, partnership in marriage should multiply vision, not multiply risk. So, what is the vision of your relationship? Both of you need to talk. Remember, partnership in marriage should multiply vision, the vision in that dream, so that the successes you both desire can be visible at the end of the day. But reckless decisions, bad investments, impulsive purchases, or rushed ventures can be forced under the banner of we are in this together. No, 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 no. You don't need to be with a person that takes you through hell in the name of debts, financial crisis, and all that. And they come and tell you, you know what, we are in this together. And they are taking you through hell. No. True partnership requires wisdom and agreement. Wisdom and agreement, not pressure and manipulation. Not pressure and manipulation. So the Bible says every prudent man deals with knowledge. Deal with the knowledge in everything that you do, my brother. Make sure that person you're getting married to is wise enough to be a part of you, not based on certain risks or certain hidden agendas that are not right. But every prudent man deals with knowledge, but a self confident fool who despises God's instructions and wisdom displays folly. Oh, come on. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 16, that is what it tells us. So let us be intentional, because marry a person that will be willing to be transparent to you. That is what I think will make or ensure the relationship that the both of you have becomes something that is tangible. Remember, a reckless spouse doesn't just waste money, they jeopardize legacy. A reckless relationship or a reckless person doesn't just waste money, they jeopardize legacy. What looks like partnership in the moment can become a lifetime of regret. So remember, whatever you desire in this life, whatever you want to achieve, the great things that you want to have in this life are determined by the person you want to marry. Who do you want to marry? The decision you make of the person you want to marry will determine the outcome of that relationship. My final thought on this: remember, it's not only alimony or child support after divorce. It is not only alimony or child support after divorce. It's the everyday erosion of financial stability during the marriage that destroys a man's future. The truth, the wrong spouse can bankrupt not just your accounts, but your destiny. Choose wisely, build wisely, and never ignore the spiritual weight of financial alignment in marriage. My brother, whatever decision you want to make, especially concerning marriage, that marriage you want to get into, that person you want to marry will determine how you will be or how you will succeed in this life. Be very intentional. Consider to function on what is true and noble. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for yet another time. This is the 30 Minutes Connect. Hope it has been a blessing for you and hope something has been dispensed into your very hearts. And right now you can be able to say for sure there are certain characters and attitudes I need to change. Thank you so much. We are structuring so much, and there's so much that we are building. So for more of what I'm speaking about, you can get me on TikTok as Salim Cyrus KE, and you'll be able to get more info on that. Thank you so much for those that have joined. God bless you. Until next time.